The Celtics suck. That's how I'm going to start off this one. They
Yep.
just dropped the second game of the Eastern Conference Finals to the Miami Heat 106-101. Just a disgrace of a team, disgrace of an organization. Fire Brad, fire Danny, sell the team Wick, get everyone out. That's what my feelings are right now.
I just don't understand this team. It's only us though. Like I swear to God, us and I guess now us and the Clippers I swear compare so well because the Clippers are just massive third quarter choke job like they did it so many times to Denver.
The third quarter, dude.
But it's only the Celtics. How many times can they go up 15 plus and just lose? They've been up 15 plus so many times in this series. It is unbelievable. They were up 14 in game one with 11 minutes left. They were up 13 at halftime, but they were up 17 with a minute before halftime. It was 60-43, and then it was like 74-71 or something stupid like that. They got outscored 37-17. 37-17 in
They
the
won
third
every
quarter.
other quarter, too. Won
Like,
every other quarter
what?
except for the third and lost it by 20. Like usually when you win 3 out of the 4 quarters, that one quarter you lost is probably, by
Like
5 because it's a
5.
close
Yeah.
game. They won the first quarter by 3, the second by 10, the fourth by 2, and lost the third by 20.
I
That
literally I
difference
was
right there is more than those 3 quarters combined, which makes sense because they lost the game. But still,
I was I was talking to another friend during the second quarter, and I was like, it was when Kemba missed that corner three with like a minute left in the second. It was 60-43. He almost hit it. And I was like, we go up 20. And I'm like, we're up. We go up to the half, up 13. I'm like, all you got to do is not get outscored by freaking 20 points and you win the game. I did not
they got
intend for them
outscored by
to
20
get.
points
I literally
in a
said those exact
quarter.
words in a quarter.
Not the second
But
half, the quarter.
some of the shots Miami hit, Kelly Olynyk falling down
Banking
bank
three.
three,
That was
freaking
stupid.
Goran Dragic just like absolute butter. In like we couldn't get a rebound to save our lives at the end of the game. They
Yet
just
they out
stood
rebounded
there
them by 3 in the entire game, which
because they were
makes
out.
no
It was like
sense.
30-13 in rebounds in the second quarter. Like the points in the paint was unbelievable. Like I was like, this team is unstoppable. When the Celtics play the way they should, they should win every game by 20. It's unbelievable. That's
Well,
the only reason why I'm not losing hope yet, because if they just keep it together, both of these games, all they have to do is keep it together, not for 48 minutes, 40 freaking 2 minutes if they keep it together.
no,
They
you
win
know
the game.
why? You know why I'm losing hope is because if Eric Spoelstra is a competent coach at all, he's gonna play zone the entire series. If he's a competent coach at all, and he's a very good coach, so he will continue to do zone. I don't know what it is about them. So we always praise Brad about the things he does because he does a lot of good things and he does a lot of things extraordinarily well. Blah. But to have no game plan for a zone defense tonight where most of the defense that they played against you in the regular season was zone, and they played a significant amount more zone on the Celtics than any other team, and they played some zone in game 1 too, and it was effective, but to not have anything for that, they looked like they didn't know what they were doing. They took 12 shots in the third quarter. Every other possession they turned it over. How do you take 12 shots in a quarter in the NBA? And it's an NBA coach with NBA players. And I made a comment too when they were on that run is nowadays you see, it's so much more accessible for recruiters, especially the college recruiters, to go to just these AAU tournaments just to see these high flashing dunks and blah blah blah. All the teams at those AAU tournaments play zone defense. So as just players playing basketball for the last 20 years of their lives, how are they not able to adapt to a zone offense in the National Basketball Association?
I don't understand. I don't, it's like it feels like every time they get a lead, they're just like, woohoo! And all they try to do is like, let's do some fancy passes. Let's try to get the fancy assist dunk, and let's try to hit the fadeaway three as the shot clock goes down. Every single possession they had in that third quarter, I swear they took down to the buzzer. for the shot
They
clock.
didn't know what to do because they didn't know what to do. So then they're like, "Oh shoot, there's 5 seconds left. Let me hoist this three." They had no clue what to
Like
do.
on the defensive side of the ball, they just
Oh,
what was
Bam,
that
the pick and
defense?
roll ate them alive. And again, I blame Brad for that. Why does Rob Williams not play a minute? He
A
doesn't get a
minute.
minute.
Cantor did decent, but he can't play defense.
Defensively, he sucks though.
Sucks.
That
He's so
so this is
slow.
what you didn't need. You don't need Cantor when they're playing a zone defense. You need people who can shoot. You put your center as the defensive anchor when they're playing a zone. So you put while Miami's in the zone, you put in Rob Williams so he can guard Bam on the other side. You don't put Cantor in because he's not going to get offensive rebounds when there are three guys on the baseline in a zone. So
Yeah.
essentially, a center a center who can't shoot threes in an offense that's playing against a zone defense is mainly only there for defensive purposes. So if you put Cantor or Tice or Rob Will in when Miami's playing a zone, they're not going to score offensively because they can't shoot three, so they're only in for defensive purposes. Why not put Rob Williams in? He's the best defender out of all three of them. And I know Tice is a good defender, but Rob Williams is just much more athletic and he's a little bit taller. So why not put him in when they're going to a zone? I just don't get the coaching decisions by Brad tonight. They made 0 sense.
Okay, I'm just gonna read a series of tweets that just came out about the Celtics post game locker room. Marcus Smart is screaming in the Celtics locker room, and
As
there's
he
a
should.
bunch of arguing going on. Smart
Oh,
comes out and says, "Y'all on that BS? Team is imploding." Smart is in the bathroom and they're still screaming coming from the locker room. Smart wasn't the only one yelling. They're throwing items and lots of yelling. Argument is continuing. Locker room closed. And then Gary Washburn tweets, "Been outside a bunch of locker rooms in my days. That was the most ruckus I've ever heard."
as it
Okay.
should be.
So, and then just another tidbit just to be like,
As it should be.
oh yeah, they're pissed. You should be pissed. Like
Kyrie enter that
how
locker
are
room at some point.
how are they not up 2-0? Okay, just this is what I was gonna say. The last two Eastern Conference Finals, the team that went up 2-0 lost the series. Just saying that.
Yeah, but we don't have LeBron James. I'm just saying.
And I guess Toronto had Kawhi.
And we don't have Kawhi Leonard. We don't have either of those players.
But
The Celtics don't have either of those players.
yeah.
And the other baffling thing was the turnovers. I mean, I already talked about it in the third quarter, but the Celtics having 20 and Miami having 9. How do you not force the Celtics are supposed to be this almighty defense who are great at forcing turnovers, getting points off of turnovers and protecting the perimeter. But to only force 9 turnovers when you have 20, that's
And
terrible.
our turnovers weren't because of Miami. It was because of us being special needs idiots.
Yep. And the way that works is when the other team usually when the other team forces turnovers like by playing good defense, it's usually at the rim or getting a steal on a drive. So you have time to, get back on defense. But what the Celtics were doing were making terrible passes and Miami shooting the gap. So then they're in transition and on the break. And it felt like every turnover the Celtics had, it was 2 points the other end on Miami side. And actually, while you talk right now, I'm going to look up their points off of turnovers because it has to be significant difference between Miami and Boston.
So heading into game 3, they need to obviously just play 48 minutes. That's what Miami does. Even if they struggle, they don't stop. They're like, okay, we're fine. Like
They're like Denver in that way.
exactly. That's from like Miami Denver finals. What a hoot for the NBA.
Whoa. So
Hayward,
actually, I was
I don't
incorrect. The
I
Celtics
don't
had
care.
26 points off of turnovers and Miami had 10. I don't know why it felt like it was
That's
significantly.
impossible.
That's what it says. I don't know
That's
why.
the other way. It's other way around.
It has to be, but it says
That's
26 for the
impossible.
Celtics, 10 for the Heat.
That's impossible. It's the other way around. 100%.
That's what ESPN says.
I don't care how Hayward's ankle feels going into game 3, buddy. You're suiting up and you're playing 35 minutes. I don't freaking care.
35 is a stretch.
Okay,
You don't
he
want
can
him to
play
force
25.
Yeah.
Because it's our offense isn't the issue. I don't
In the
think
third quarter,
anything's.
it was
The
offensively. It
third
was.
quarter was like
It's
third quarter.
because the zone. I don't know. It's the NBA, and I get teams don't run zone other than a few, and you don't see it a lot. But knowing that Miami is the one team that you should worry about running a zone against you, why does Brad not have anything in? Why? Because I mean, maybe he did, and the Celtics just forgot it. But that's highly unlikely. They looked like they had no clue what they were doing. They didn't know what to do. So I put that on Brad and I put that on the coaching staff because how do you not have a plan put in place for the team that runs the most zone in the league, especially when they ran a ton on you in the 3 meetings in the regular season? It makes zero sense.
I just don't understand. It doesn't. This game, so we lose game one, and I'm like, okay, choked it away in the fourth. Miami hit some threes. Good for them. They played better in overtime. It is what it is. Like, whatever. I was like, they're going to win by 20 in this game. We're up 17. I'm like, woohoo, Kemba's back. The defense was decent. We snuck away with a lead in the first quarter after Duncan Robinson was hitting every shot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how are we? The fact that we were winning that first quarter, I was like, we're winning this game. Miami's playing out of their mind, and we're still winning.
Well,
And,
no, yeah, keep going because I want to find the
and
text that where I said something.
it's just what I don't know why. Like
Oh,
it's not that
this is what I said. This was after they got up probably by like 17. You and Andrew were texting us saying like woohoo or let's go. And I said right after, yeah, but this is what happened last time in a bunch versus Toronto. They just need
I
to
know.
not blow chunks in the second half. And what did they do? They blew
blew fat.
chunks in the second
They
half.
blew fat chunks.
I
It's incredible. It's I don't how are they not up 2-0 in this series? It makes zero sense. Miami pisses me off.
and
They're
even the
not like
we were even
the
talking about the
refs were
refs
like,
were
wow, the
trying to
refs are
give the
trying
Celtics the
so
game.
hard.
That's how bad they were. They were trying to give the Celtics the game and they still couldn't pull it out.
They were
Oh
trying
my
so hard.
god.
Like we literally like the fact that Brown had to hit those two miracle basically threes at the end just
Mhm.
to give it a like it was 94-89 when Kemba hit that three, and I was like, bet we're winning this game. Kemba's feeling it. The refs are giving us every call. We're winning this game. I was like, there's no way we don't. Miami proceeds to go on a 13-1 run with our 1 point being obviously a free throw. Jaylen Brown free throw. So they
Mhm.
basically went on a 13-0 run in
Oh,
in
the
the end of
free
the game.
throws were bad too.
We weren't that bad from the line, I don't think. They were 12 of
Um
14. We were 19 of 24. That's the game right there. We're not going to go 24-24, but
yeah,
still,
Brad missed one. And
that's
I don't want to blame I already blamed Brad. Like that was bad. But I also have to blame not Kemba because Kemba played better than he had ever in the series, but I have to blame Tatum too.
yeah.
Tatum,
He didn't do anything.
he took 12 shots in 42 minutes. This guy was all
He was
NBA
50%.
third team,
He was
and
playing well.
he was just all NBA third team a few days ago. He wants to be that guy, and everyone's talking, oh, is Jason Tatum the best player on a championship team? Can he reach superstardom? A superstar doesn't go take 12 shots in 42 minutes. I mean, I guess unless your name's Kawhi Leonard, and that's a different story. But whatever, he wants to, and he said in a bunch of interviews, he wants to be that guy, and he wants to keep rising. Games like this is where he needs to take over. And I said this in, I think, the early on in the Toronto series, late game situations, he needs to start being that guy and being asked to do things. He just isn't. He's not doing it at all. And if he wants to reach the level of, LeBron James, and I'm not gonna say Giannis because he isn't that at all as well, but LeBron James and James Harden and even Jimmy Butler, he needs to take those shots because I want to look at it now. He took two shots in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, two shots in the fourth quarter, and that's it. How do you take two shots in the fourth quarter?
What do you
All
take in
NBA
the
third team.
what do you take in the first?
He took. Let's see. I just exited out, but
What was he like 3 for 5 in the first or something like
I
that?
don't know. But that's that. I don't.
Because
Maybe
he was hitting his shots in the first.
he
So
was
oh
because
wow.
not there's no pressure on him, and
I just don't get this team. Like they play so well in basically first half of every game. They're pretty good. First quarter they usually shoot the ball well. I don't get it.
So
I just
the first quarter he took 4 shots. He was 3 for 4
yeah,
with
he was
6
playing well. I
points.
was like Tatum's dropping 40.
But again, to go to the fourth quarter and shoot 2 shots. I mean, he made both of them, but still, to only take 2 shots, that's awful. That's awful. I don't get it. And then the third quarter, they took 12 shots as a team. He took 3 of them, going 1 for 3. Um, and the other thing was or we already talked about it, but I want to talk about it more, is the third quarter. We talk about how awful they were on offensively, but Bam was just killing them. It's not like he's the same height as Tice. They just physically outplayed them. And again, so I don't even know why I brought up Tice, because it wasn't Tice's fault. It was the
Pick and
help
roll. Oh my
defense.
god.
There was no help defense, and that's what I don't know if that's praise to the Heat or if it's on the Celtics, because there were a few plays where Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum could have helped, but they chose not to because they were worried about Duncan Robinson, who had 6 threes. They were worried he was going to be wide open for a 3, so they didn't help. So in that position, I don't know what you do. I would go on the error of helping and then rotating to close out. But that's just me. Brad might have something different, which is, I don't want to say it's fine because it didn't really work, but he's an NBA coach and I'm not. So I don't want to question him, even though they are down 2-0. But there needs to be a solution there, because Bam can't just go to the rim without anyone. It was like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and the one that killed it the most was the stupid Cantor, the half lazy slap on the
Oh, and
arm
one.
and one that brought it within one. Why,
Well,
why even to bother at that
so there's
point?
a
You're getting physically abused. Just at that point, just take it and just let him take the dunk. Don't
there's a
add
whole
another point on
there's
it.
a whole series in the third. So we're up 10, right? Loose ball, Tice dives on it, had the ball for not even like a second and literally didn't even have possession of the ball. Marcus calls timeout when Tice did have the ball though. Timeout
Mm.
isn't given. Then Bam jumps on the ball. Shot clock probably shouldn't have reset.
And then
They
the
win
jump
the
ball.
they win the tip. Crowder hits a 3 and 1. That's a 4-point
Yeah.
swing. We go down the floor. Tice gets elbowed in the head, falls to
Mm.
the ground. No foul call. They go down, get an easy 2. That's a 6 points for the Heat that don't happen. That turns into our ball out of a timeout, a possible flagrant foul, 2 free throws in the ball.
Yeah,
That
that's
goes back to
so that's a good point, but I also don't want to bail out the Celtics' terrible third
I
quarter
know,
play with blaming the refs there. I mean, yes,
I
that
know.
was terrible, but
That like started like the
they
whole
they
run.
the refs weren't the one. Like, we can point to the
They were
refs in
the
what was
4.
it, game 4 of the Toronto series? Game 4 or game 6 of the Toronto
No, game
series. The
6,
one
Tony
it was games
Brothers.
we can point at the refs in game 6 of the Toronto series, say that was the refs' fault. This game, sure, the refs made bad calls, but they made bad calls for both teams. That's what NBA refs do. They just make bad calls. They're getting paid millions of dollars to make bad calls. That wasn't their fault tonight. It was the Celtics playing terribly in the third quarter and just not coming out ready to play. I don't know what it is. Brad
Every
needs to
third quarter.
Brad needs to take some tips on he needs to take a motivational speeches class or something, because whatever he says in at halftime just deflates everybody. I don't know what he does. Don't know. I would love to hear what he says
He's
at
probably like,
halftime when
donuts
they're up
on
by
me after the
17.
game, win or loss. Like,
I don't know. I don't know what he says at halftime. I would love to know, but that man needs to
you
go
know
to
what?
some
See,
sort of motivational speech class, because there's no way they should be outscored by 20 after thoroughly dominating the first half.
thoroughly. So, like in hockey, I mean, it's a different kind of thing. Like you usually like the Bruins are a team that they start the game with their fourth line because they're hard hitters. You know, they set the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say the Celtics are capable, but would you ever go F you guys, bench players? You get the first 2 minutes of the third. Let's see what happens.
Well, why would you do that if you're up by 13 or whatever it was at
No, just
halftime
but
already?
it's just like a thing. Like
Just switch it up.
clearly, you
You know
guys
what
don't
I
have
would
the.
do to set the tone? I would put in a lineup of Smart, Rob Will, Grant Williams, uh, Brown, and someone else to just go
That's what I'm
freaking
saying.
punch them in the
That's
face.
and Ojale, put Ojale in there.
And Ojolai, just punch him in the
So
face.
so
Like first 2 minutes. First
that's
2 minutes,
exactly what I'm
be like,
saying.
you know what?
You
We're
that's what I'm
showing
saying.
up for
Like,
this third quarter, and
yep, that's
you
what I'm
have to
saying.
deal with it.
You get like a couple steals and some crazy defensive plays, even if they don't even matter, just to be like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the guys going back in and they hit shots. Like, I don't know why they come out in the third and just be like, man, we got this one in the bag.
Yeah.
Clearly
I don't know
you
either.
don't.
I don't know.
Letting Jay Crowder hit fadeaway threes. Kelly Olynyk falling down to the floor as an unathletic old man who should be playing at the YMCA.
Yeah.
Like,
They just played harder in the second half, and that's what comes down to it.
Why is Miami 10-1 in the bubble? How?
I don't know. Well, because and so I said this on the last one. I said this on whatever day that was. What's today? Thursday. So Tuesday, I got into how, the Indiana series wasn't even going to be a series. That
No,
was
Indiana sucks.
Sabonis out, Oladipo off injury, whatever. And I said all of this, and then I said what it actually, to give us more listeners, go check out the one on Tuesday to hear what I talked about. But I basically said Bucks, I knew it was a good matchup for the Heat. They won that one, and I knew in this series, I said it. If there are games where it's a 5-point game with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Heat have that guy and the Celtics do not. And that guy is Jimmy Butler. And he made plays. He had that steal and the dump off to Crowder. He had a tough layup, I think, on one of them under 3 minutes. And I think I said it to you, right? On one of the layups, I said, look at this. Under 3 minutes, Jimmy Butler. Here we go. Celtics can't win now because they don't have
he
that
makes
guy.
2 insane defensive plays.
And Jason Tatum wants to be that guy, but he's just not. And again, he is only 22 and blah, 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 blah. But he just had an all-star season. He had a month where he averaged like 32,
35, yes,
35, something ridiculous like that.
Like 34
and then comes into the bubble and does the same. So why can't you do that? Luka's doing it. If other players are doing it. If Luka was on the Celtics team, there's no chance that they lose. So I can't blame him being too young because Luka's just the same age. He needs to step up, and we're saying that about Kemba. I feel like we're saying that about every game, though.
Every guy.
Because the last few games it's been Kemba. Now it's been Tatum. Like, they just can't
see, that's
step up.
the issue with the Celtics. So Hayward's going to come. Like, there's no way he doesn't play Game 3. Like, I don't see a single chance he doesn't play Game 3.
I know.
So the other thing is, now that the series is like they haven't announced the schedule past Game 3. It's every other day, except ESPN has Monday Night Football on Monday night. They don't want each conference playing on the same day. So there's a chance the Celtics don't play Game 4 until Wednesday, or they play Game 3 or Game 4 on Monday at like 4:00, which would be stupid.
Yep.
But so it was like, oh, do they wait for Hayward to get an extra time? No, play the freaking man. You're down 2-0. I don't care. Like, he has to play. But that what raises the question is, when he's in the game, Tatum's in the game, Brown's in the game, Kemba's in the game, and Smart thinking he's Steph Curry. That's what I think should give him the biggest advantage. No team, you can't double the superstar because every single guy on the floor right there should be able to hit the shot. It's not like
but you know
teams
what will stop them is that zone. If they keep them in that zone,
it's insane. So that's why I'm like, this team should be so good at the end of the game because every single guy
they should be, but they're not.
Could be the guy. Every guy on that team on a different night could be the guy. Every single one of them. So I'm like, why is it? I just hate Miami. I'm as simple as that. The Celtics could legit easily be 10-0 in the playoffs right now. Seriously. Like,
yeah, it feels like they
every
haven't been
loss, they haven't been beat. They've beat themselves every single time they've lost in the playoffs. Every single game.
So this is the one exception because of the great coaching adjustment defensively. So this is the only one that I can see where they've lost. Technically, all the Toronto ones, they should have won those games. They won those games.
You're telling me with a 14-point lead with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter in Game 1, and then being up basically 13. This one almost doesn't seem as bad because it was a first half lead, not a second half lead.
I feel like this one's worse.
Tell me 14 with 11 minutes left in the game is bad. That's awful.
That's bad. But I
5 points up with a minute left.
So this is the difference. That one I knew only because the Heat again, I said it, they have that guy down the stretch. They have Jimmy Butler. So if they even got it within 7 or 8, then that's fine. The worst thing about tonight is they saw that happen to them game 1. They should be thinking in the locker room at halftime, all right, we're up 13, but we have to go up 25. We have to come out firing in this third quarter and be up by 25 so this doesn't happen again. What is it? What happens? It happens. The same thing happens again. So the fact that it happened again and they had it. Hold on, the video is playing. I don't know why, but uh, the fact that they let it happen to them again and didn't make any adjustments at halftime, I think that is why this one is so much worse than game 1. Because game 1, yeah, whatever. They blew a 14-point lead. They had many chances to win. They should have won that game, whatever. This game, again, up 17 late in the second quarter, up 13 at half. They need to come out and just absolutely obliterate them in the third quarter so there's no chance of them coming back. But they just didn't. They were like, you know what? You guys can have the ball and win. I want to go home. That's essentially what it was. But
I'm so disappointed. I believe in the team still somehow because they are the better team. They're the better team.
they're the
Like
better team until
the
5 minutes
Miami
left. And if it's
the
close
Miami
with 5 minutes left, then there's no chance.
the Heat haven't held a double-digit lead in the series, right? The Celtics, no, they haven't.
No.
We were up 13 in the first quarter in game 1, so they were never really able to because we never fell behind really ever in that game until like the fourth in overtime. And then in this game, they were up 2-3 in the first, and then we ended up taking the lead at the end of the first, and we took a huge lead into the half. And then they went up 7 at the end of the third, and that was the biggest they got in this game. They
It's just
haven't led.
crazy.
They haven't led by more than I think 7 or 8.
Yeah.
How? And we've led by 17, 15, 16 for like if you just look at the game flows of these games, like win probability. The Celtics
It's just
we have
crazy
the
to
lead.
me.
We have to lead the entire game, both games. Every playoff game. There hasn't been a game where the Celtics haven't been leading for more than 75% in the playoffs, except maybe game 4 against Toronto. They were up the majority of that game, and it was just close, and we kind of sucked. But
it's just crazy to me the difference between we go from the first half, they go into the locker room, they're just loving each other, playing off of each other, hitting everything, playing as a team, to end of the game, people are throwing things, and Marcus Smart is dropping F-bombs everywhere and throwing things. I don't know where it goes from here. And you know, you need that, but at the same time it is concerning because it does have that what you just described and what I just saw on Bleacher Report and all these stuff that has a very Kyrie-like vibe, and I don't like it at all because that's exactly that. The stuff like that would happen on the daily with last year's team.
facts.
And again, the fact that this is the first time this has happened this year is awesome. But the fact that it's necessary to get there and get to that point and escalate like that, that's not good at all. It's not.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm like, this team isn't that. They're not. Like, there's too many leaders on this team. So I think, obviously, I mean, you gotta win game 3. It's like no question about that.
Again,
They
I feel like
look
we've been,
just.
I feel like it's been the same thing over and over again. Oh, they'll be okay. They'll have a good practice tomorrow and get things figured out. They have good leaders, so they'll figure it out. They're on their way, and then they go and lose another double-digit lead. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And there's a fix, but it's only temporarily. Like what the fix that they need to have is when they're stop blowing double-digit leads. They'll
Tell
win the
me
next
about
game, and then they'll win the next game and like, oh, they're fine. It was just a bad game. But then the game 4, so they'll win game 3, and then game 4 they'll be up 20 in the third quarter, and then lose that game, and then we're back to square one. It needs to be a temporary fix, and I don't know what that is, but it needs to be temporary, and it's not right now because every game it's the same narrative. except for the Philly series. Philly was terrible, but it
Fair
felt
enough.
like that.
Philly was
Toronto,
terrible.
first two
Like,
games,
but like
awesome. Like,
seriously, can you point back to what I just said like a minute ago? It's not crazy to think that the Celtics should be 10-0 right now in the playoffs and cruising their way to the finals.
yeah.
They haven't been beat by more than 10. They haven't been beat by more than 5. 7. 7 was the biggest one against Toronto, game 4. We lost by 1 on a buzzer beater, 3 with 0.5 seconds left. We lost by 7 in game 4. We played terrible, but Toronto wasn't even that good. We just sucked. We in game, and then we lost in overtime by 3 in game 6. Then we lost by 3 in
I
overtime in game
don't
1, and we
remember.
lost by 5 right now. And then when we win, we crush basically Philly in every game. A couple games were close, but we beat them by at least 8.
Philly's
We beat
irrelevant.
Toronto.
Philly.
We beat Toronto twice by 20, and the other games we handled.
I don't know. I just feel like there's something going on with them. Whether it's just it's been a long season. Like this season's been virtually 12 months almost. It's been almost 12 months. But
Yeah, a month away.
whether it's they're just sick of playing and they just want an off season and want to go home, I feel there is something going on. And I'm not just saying league wide because the Heat seem to be playing all right and love playing in the bubble. I feel like the
Yeah,
Celtics, and you
it's
can see it in their press game post conferences. I don't know, they just feel flat. They feel like they don't want to be there anymore. And
see if I
who
was them.
knows?
So there's a certain point like Toronto. I'm shocked they didn't fold. Right, if you're down 2-0 in the second round, you're like, okay, we're a long ways away from the finals. Still, we're not looking good now.
Yeah,
All right, whatever. Once you get to the conference finals, you're there. Like
yeah.
you're
Just go
more
win.
than halfway there. You're at this point. You're just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Win this series, and you're it's a best of 7. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't
I
know where
want to
they go
hope.
from here too because these two games
I
have
hope.
been super deflating.
I hope
Super
history's on our
deflating.
side. That the last 2 conference finals teams that were up 2-0 lost.
Again, we
That would
don't have LeBron or Kawhi Leonard, not even close. Sorry, we don't have LeBron and we don't have 2019 Kawhi Leonard because this year Kawhi Leonard we'd be out of the playoffs already. But yeah, we don't have that guy, so I am worried.
But it's like
I'm worried.
but the only reason why I mean I'm clearly worried. We're down 2-0. That's not a good place to be when they should be up 2-0. The only reason why I'm not worried, they're the best. They're the better team in 90% of the game. All they have to be is the better team for 95% of the game, and they still win. It's
Yeah, but that last
little.
5%
It,
is that last 5% of the game, and that's when it matters. And they just can't
not
do
if
it
they're
when
up.
it
Not if they're
matters.
up 15 at that point. It's the other 5-10% of the game that they get complacent in the second half and let it slip away.
Third
Right.
quarter specifically.
Third quarter. It's not last game. See, Toronto, Miami's weird. Like game 1, they were terrible in the first and third quarters and were absolutely disgusting they basically doubled their point totals from the first to the second and third to the fourth. And then this game it was basically different for the first to the third. Like they're a streaky team. Like we literally, like you said, we won 3 of the 4 quarters. You just can't.
So to wrap this up, if Brad doesn't go to strictly zone offense drills and shell drills and all that tomorrow in practice, he should be fired. That's all I'm going to
After
say.
he just signed like a lifetime extension.
Yeah, he should be fired if he doesn't go over strictly zone offense and how to deal with that because that was pathetic tonight. But anyways, you got anything else you want to say?
No, not really. I mean, you never know. You just got
never
to win game
know.
3 and go. You got to win game 3 and go from there. Like you said that after game 2, after game 1. I mean, you got to win game 2 and go from there. But now, literally, what was it against the Heat in 2012? Were we up 2-0 or? I know we were up 3-2 and lost, but were we up big in that series?
I don't know.
Probably not because we were on the road for games 1 and 2. Whatever it is, just come out strong in game 3. Just win the game. Restore some hope in the guys. You never know what happens after that. Look, Toronto made it 2-2. We were the better team, so we won the series. We're the better team in this series. They just got to win game 3, go from there, get some momentum back in their side, trust themselves again. Hayward's going to come back, pop like 40 points in 20 minutes because he's insane, and then he's going to have to leave again because he's having another kid. But go Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty depressing.
Yeah, it is.
I hope you guys
But
enjoy the upcoming Stephen A. memes.
oh, yeah, that's gonna be fun. So you're gonna be hearing that in about 15 seconds. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Peace.